today, I would make dinner with you. Gonna make some lasagna, and then I have some cranberries left over that just need to get used, so I thought I would make some cranberry orange muffins. And yeah, just thought I'd bring you along with me. I'm actually not really going to use oranges, I'm going to use cuties. Same basic principle though. So I think first what we need to do is get our sauce going for the lasagna. Just move these out of the way for right now. And I'm going to preheat my oven. We're going to do 360. Most muffins are done at that temperature. And I went shopping downstairs for a few things in our pantry. So first we are going to get some of whatever that stuff is called, chopped up. Actually, the other thing that we can get going is our Italian sausage. We are going to need to do another sausage making day here pretty soon. So I'm actually going to make 2 small lasagnas. Since it's just the 2 of us, we definitely eat leftovers, but not a full 9x13 pan, which is what I normally make. But since I'm here making them, or making lasagna, I might as well still make the full amount, but just put it into 2 pans and freeze the other one. So you might know, if you've been with me for a while, that I don't do most of the cooking during the week. So this is a Sunday, thus my turn. And I tend to like to make, we're just going to put some butter in our pot that we're going to cook our onions and garlic in, well, our whole sauce actually. Get that started melting. But I like to make a dish that I can eat for lunches, specifically during the week. So pastas typically are one of my go-tos, especially on Sundays. Although tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day, so I have it off. So I'm just going to get these onions in our pot here with our butter and start cooking down. And then get some garlic chopped up. We are still making our way through our hardneck garlic from this summer. It doesn't tend to store as long, and last year it didn't store well at all. But I think it's because I left it up here in the main part of the house instead of down in the basement where it's quite a bit cooler. And this year I took it down there right away. So it is lasting much better. It's the same type too, so it's not like it was a different type variety. Paper towel under here is not being all that helpful. So I'm keeping this from sliding around. Give our meat a quick check here. Yep, I'm getting some nice color. I'm going to give this a quick wash, and then we can use it with our sauce. Do you want to give these onions some salt? Now, it's always a good idea to flavor all steps as you make things. Our onions are actually starting to get a little color, which I don't mind at all. I think it gives it great flavor. So we are going to add our garlic in and let that just cook for a minute. And this is just my recipe that it's not a recipe even. I have never written it down. I just kind of throw things in a pot and I know about what quantities it should be. All right, and then we're going to add our herbs. Turn this down a little bit. A good amount of oregano. Oh my goodness, why are these on so tight? And basil. Parsley. And just a little bit of red pepper flake for a little heat. The oven is ready. And then we are just going to add about a cup of red wine and let that cook for a minute. Do you guys have any go-to weekend meals? We had hamburgers last night. I actually made the buns. So good. All right, we're just going to let that simmer for a little bit. And get our tomato sauce open. We are actually having very cool weather right now. Tonight, I believe it is supposed to get down to -12, or at least last time I looked. It is changing every day, but definitely in the negatives. In the last several nights, we've been at like 1 degree or 0. This is Fahrenheit. So very, very chilly. Weirdly, we actually got snow last night too, which I didn't think it usually snowed when it was that cold, but we got snow too. All right, I'm just going to add our tomato sauce, and we are just going to let this sit here and bubble away. This is probably way more than I need, but that's okay. I like to rinse out my jars and get every last little bit out. Oh, one other important ingredient, black pepper. I'm actually going to move this to my smaller burner back here. And put it on. All right, while that is going, I think we should get our muffins in the oven. And I'm trying to decide if I should soak my noodles now. I don't use no-boil noodles. I just use normal, like the kind that typically you cook first all the way. But I have found they get a little too mushy when I do that. So what I do is I boil water and just soak them. So I just put them in a pan and pour boiling water over them and then use them. And they get soft enough that you can handle them, but they are not even close to being cooked through. And they just finish cooking through in the lasagna. So I think it's a little too soon to get started on that. So let's just get started on the muffins. And actually, I haven't even looked up a recipe yet, so I should do that too. All right, found one from the Preppy Kitchen, one of my favorite places to get recipes. Let's go through these cranberries and get them washed. probably not going to use them all, but they are from Thanksgiving, so there could very well not be very many that are good. I think I only need a cup and a half. The great thing about cranberries is that they do last a very long time, because these have just been in the refrigerator. I think we're probably going to have just exactly a cup and a half. And then I want to get my cheese here. Rinse. All right, I do believe that we need to, oh, it doesn't have you cut up the cranberries. I don't kind of like them a little bit smaller than like a whole big huge cranberry, so I am going to cut them at least in half. Let's see how much of a disaster we can make this. Cranberries everywhere. Figured I would run across a few more of that. Not good. You know, I'm gonna use a little knife. I prefer using muffin liners than just spraying the pan. Cleanup is much easier. Not sure how many this is supposed to make. 12 muffins. All right. I do, however, still like to spray insides of the cup. I just find you don't lose quite as much of your muffin in there when you do it that way. All right, we need a cup of sugar. And then we need our orange zest to go in here. I actually don't really like this microplaner. I might have to get a new one. It's not very old, but it just doesn't work very well. Not nearly as well as my old one did, which I could just go out to the trailer and get my old one. All right, I think we got enough to do what we need to. And I'm supposed to get in here with the fingers and work the zest into the sugar. And this way it makes the flavor go all the way through your muffins. Yeah, I think there's plenty of orange zest in there. Smells so good. All right. Go wash my hands real quick. To this, we're going to do a half a cup of vegetable oil. And I have a cup of milk. And 2 eggs. One of my girls has actually started laying again, which is exciting. Much earlier this year than it was last year. And a couple teaspoons of vanilla. Oh, and we need the orange juice. Which I'm just going to cut these guys in half and squeeze them. And we just need 1/4 cup. Perfect. All right, and now we just need our dry ingredients, which you are supposed to sift into a separate bowl, but I'm not going to. It does give weight measurements, so we are going to go with that for our flour. He gives volume too. It's 2 cups, or 240. Perfect. And I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Just gonna make a little well here. And half teaspoon of salt. Just mix that in a little bit with the flour, and we are good to go. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. So good. Alright, and then we are just going to hold in our cranberries. I am actually going to measure 1.5 cups out. I throw them everywhere. Still managed to get a couple in here. Well, they're not looking so fine. Get all of this stuff in the sink. Quick wipe. And then we're just going to scoop these guys in here. All right, have a little tiny bit left in the bottom, but I think we are just gonna leave that, put these in the oven. Actually, we were supposed to have the oven heated to 400. So let's do that. And bake for 25 minutes. Going to get this all of this stuff cleaned up, and then we will get back to our lasagna. I kind of like to lay them so they're not stacked directly on top of each other, otherwise they sometimes will stick. And this is definitely not enough. And that I got a second box. These are the pans I'm going to put them in. 1, 2, 3, basically 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 3 layers. As soon as the water is boiling, I will pour it over our noodles. And then right now we need to get the filling mixed up and cheese shredded. Well, here I was talking away as usual, and I hadn't hit record. So our water's boiling now. I will explain this when we get done putting our water on the, oops, I turned off the wrong one. You do want them to be fully covered, like that. We will just let them sit and soak for probably 10-ish minutes or so, and then we should be able to handle them. Back to our filling. So, I'm not a big fan of ricotta, and that's kind of the common, well actually the traditional filling for lasagna is a bechamel sauce, which I do occasionally, but it's definitely a lot of work, a lot more work. And the shortcut typically is to use ricotta. Well, don't like ricotta, and years ago, a friend of mine invited me over for dinner. Actually, this was back when I was in high school, and her mom always made their lasagna with a mixture of cream cheese and sour cream. So I loved it. And I have pretty much made my lasagna like that ever since. I'm going to just put a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And that is it. Super simple. I think I am probably good with how this is. I don't want it super thick because the noodles need stuff to soak in as they finish cooking. So this is perfect consistency. And so we are just gonna let that set here while our noodles soak. And in the meantime, it's almost dark. And like I said, tonight we are going to have temperatures supposedly to -12. Let me see if it's still saying that. Yes, -12. So I don't have heaters in my chicken coop. And my chickens are cold hardy, so that shouldn't be a problem for them. But I want to give them a little bit extra because that's really cold. And of course they have their coop and it's all shut in and, you know, no drafts or anything like that. But that's cold. So I have these things called Snuggle Safe, and they are specifically for pets, and you just microwave it for 3 minutes is how long I did. I might do 3 minutes and 30 seconds. In fact, let me add 30 seconds. Microwave it till it gets really hot, and it lasts like 8 or 9 hours or so, putting out heat. So I just put these two in their coop with them and at least give them a little bit of a bump in temperature. I believe that our muffins are ready. Let's quick test here. Yes, they look fantastic. If I can grab them. I'm gonna let those cool in the pan for a little bit while I go out and feed the horses. And I did turn the stove down a little bit for the lasagna, but the oven is still on. Let us switch out our little thingies here. All right, I'm gonna get, well, I need to put some things away so the cats don't get into them. And then we will get all wrapped up and get outside. I'm really going to put these out in the garage. By the way, they smell amazing. All right, 2 minutes on that. I'm gonna get bundled up to go out in the cold. What is it right now? 12 degrees. Not horrible yet, but cold. All right, I actually need to taste this and make sure it tastes okay. Perfect. Yum. All right. We have our little station here. And let's see, I need a we'll start with this guy. And I did have some stickage issues, unfortunately. That's okay. I think I will have enough. All right, let's do this next. There's no easy way of doing this, unfortunately. And you definitely could just mix your meat into your sauce, but I kind of like being able to spread it out a bit more. It's not going to be a pretty lasagna. But quite honestly, nobody can see the inside of the lasagna, so I don't think it needs to be pretty. All right, this one is going to get covered with tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever it's called, and in the oven. And I'll let this go probably about 20 minutes or so, and then I'll take the tin foil off and let it brown up. And we can make our other one. Oh, I thought I was gonna make way too much red sauce, but I just barely have enough. In fact, really could use more than this. And I am not going to bake this one. It is just going to get wrapped up, and then we will freeze it. And when we want to bake it, we just pull it out and bake it. And I want to make sure that I label it. All right, instructions for David. These are fully cool now, so I thought we should give them a little taste test. They look beautiful. See how nicely the wrapper comes off if you give it a little spray. All right, inside. That's good. Oh, you can really taste the orange. And the top has a little crustiness to it. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. These are so good. I'm going to enjoy these for breakfast. For the foreseeable future. I have a question now. Are you a Costco muffin fan? Because they kind of have that texture to them. The old texture. Not these new muffins that they have brought out, which are, in my opinion, not good at all. But their old texture muffins. Do you guys miss them as much as I do? I really miss them. But I really love this recipe. And like, you could take this recipe and use the base and put anything that you wanted in it. You could do blueberries or lemon or poppy seed or whatever, and just choose what you do. Because this is probably one of the better textures I've had of a muffin in a really long time. It's super moist, a little bit dense, but in the best kind of way. Amazing. All right, well, I will show you the lasagna as it is coming out. We have had it many times, so I am fairly certain it will taste fantastic. But I hope you enjoyed coming along with me, and thank you for coming along with me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.